Hello, today we're going to work on our warm-up and we are going to factor these quadratic functions. So we're going to work on this today using a generic rectangle diamond problem. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to pull out our A, B, and C. Our A is our invisible 1 in front of our x squared. Our B is our 5 in front of our x. And our C is our constant, which is negative 36. Now we're ready to go ahead and move over to our diamond problem. We go ahead and multiply A times C. So negative 36 times 1 is negative 36 for the top portion of our diamond problem. And B bottom, B bottom, B bottom. So our 5 goes on the bottom. Now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 36 and combine to be 5. So we go ahead and look at those factors. 1 times 36 is 37 or 35. I'm looking for a 5. We have 2 times 18, which is 20 or 16, still looking for a 5. We have 3 times 12, which is 15 or 9. We have 4 times 9, which adds to 13, subtracts to 5. So that's what we're looking for, is our 4 and our 9. Now we need this to be a positive 5, so we know that 9 minus 4 is 5. Now we're ready to go ahead and take this information and transfer it over to inside of our generic rectangle. We put our x squared from our original problem in the bottom left corner. We put our negative 36 in the upper right. Now we split our 5x from the equation into a negative 4x and a 9x, because 9x minus 4x is 5x. Now we're ready to go ahead and solve the outsides. So the only way to get an x squared is x times x. X times 9 is 9x, and x times negative 4. And now we're going to go ahead and write this in product form. So we have x plus 9 times x minus 4. Now, this is product form, and from product form, we're going to use the zero product property to go ahead and solve for our roots. So we have x plus 9 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0, and we're simply solving for x. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides, and so one of our roots is going to be negative 9, and then we're going to add 4 to both sides, and our other root is going to be positive 4. Now from here, we could go ahead and find the vertex by adding those together, dividing by 2, and then plugging that x value into our original equation or in product form, and go ahead and solve for the vertex. Then we could graph it. Let's go ahead and move on to our second problem here. Once again, we start with our A. Our A is 6, our B is negative 1, and our C is negative 1. We multiply A times C. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6 for our top number, and our negative 1 is the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and look at those factors of 6 to find one that multiplies to negative 6 and adds to negative 1. So we have 1 times 6, which is 7 or 5. We have 2 times 3, which is 5 or 1, and that's what we're looking for. So we have a 2 and a 3. It needs to be a negative 1, so 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Now we're ready to transfer over to our generic rectangle. Our 6x squared goes in the bottom left. Our constant goes in the upper right. And we split up our negative x into 2x minus 3x. Now we're ready to solve those outsides. So we go ahead and take a look at our factors, and we pull out as much as we can. And I see my smallest one is 3, and 3 goes evenly into 6. So I'm going to go ahead and have 3x this way. And I know that 3x times 2x will get me that 6x squared. To turn a 3x into a negative 3x, we're going to multiply by negative 1. And to turn a 2x into a 2x, we just multiply by 1. So we write our product form, 2x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. And then we're going to go ahead and solve for our roots. So we have 2x minus 1 equals 0, and 3x plus 1 equals 0. So we're going to add 1 to both sides, and that gives me 2x is equal to 1, and then divide both sides by 2. So my first root is going to be 1/2 or 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the other. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. That gives me 3x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to negative 1/3. Okay, our last problem here, let's go ahead and solve. My a is 1, my b is 2, and my c is negative 10. A times c goes in the top, so 1 times negative 10 is negative 10, and our b goes on our bottom, b bottom, b bottom. Let's find the factors. We have 1 times 10, which is 11 or 9. I'm looking for a 2. I have 2 times 5, which is 7 or 3. 3 doesn't go evenly. 4 doesn't go evenly. 5 we already have. So at this point right here, what we're looking at is one that we would call unfactorable at this time. So when we see that this is unfactorable, in order to factor it, we now need to use the quadratic formula. So we know that that is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, this is going to be on your chapter 9 test. So let's go ahead and solve. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now remember, as you're solving, you're going to solve 2 problems. We're going to go ahead and do our square root, and then we're going to multiply these 3 numbers together. So x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 10 is positive 40, all divided by 2. So we'll continue to work. We're going to do 40 plus 4. X is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 44 divided by 2. Now, this right here is what we call perfect, our exact answer. So after we have our exact answer, then we're going to go ahead and split that into 2. We need to find out what that square root of 44 is. So we're going to go ahead and open up our Desmos calculator. And we are going to find the square root of 44. So square root of 44. And we're going to round to the nearest hundredths, and that's 6.63. 6.63. So we just write that on the side that it's 6.63. Now we're going to go ahead and split that into 2 problems. I'm going to go ahead and move over here. So I have x is equal to negative 2 plus 6.63 all divided by 2. And I have x is equal to negative 2 minus 6.63 all divided by 2. So we're going to go ahead and once again use our calculator to solve those. So we have negative 2 plus 6.63, and then we're going to highlight that whole thing, and we're going to put divided by 2. And then we're going to have that same problem. And let's see if I got that. No, I did not. Here we go. So we're going to copy, Control C. It's thinking about doing it. I'm just going to type the whole thing in. Negative 2 minus 6.63 all divided by 2. And so these are my 2 answers. We have x is equal to 2.32 and x is equal to negative 4.32. So these are our 2 roots. Now remember, we had to use the quadratic formula because we did not have 2 numbers that multiplied to 10 and added to 2. So that's when we know we need to go in and start solving using that quadratic formula. So I always like to finish up by just verifying our correctness. We'll just do the bottom one, but you should be doing this for all of them, which is simply typing in our equation, which is x squared plus 2x minus 10. And then we can go ahead and click on those roots, negative 4.32 and 2.32. Now we did round it, so our answers are a little bit different, but they are the same since we rounded to the nearest hundredths. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your warm-up for the day.